Hello and welcome to our new video. So it's been 7 months since the last video, and I've been working on the editor, and since you can never finish working on the editor, I just didn't know when to make a new video, but now I hope that I won't need to do much more big stuff, maybe just some more quality of life improvements that I've been adding a lot lately, and maybe some small features, because the last big feature that I added took like almost a month, and it was really hurting my head to somehow manage to nail it into the system. So anyway, first let me show you some quality of life improvements. So the biggest problem in setting up my rules is how I link the primitives. The primitives are basically rectangles with different colors. And yeah, sometimes they can be empty, sometimes they can be a stair or some other basic primitive. Actually, now they can be another primitive that was edited before, so a whole generator, whatever. Okay, so now the linkage is the big problem, as I said. So by linking it means that I have to set up how these links will be working, and basically here you can see what primitive do I link to. Let's add the new one, and how do I link to it. Let's say that I go back. And this will be, of course, a problem, because now I overlap the first primitive, but now I can actually see that there is this problem by the blinking, and I can actually edit in real time the linkage, and I have real-time information, and this is very useful for me. And not only this, but I can clone the primitives. That was also a very, very important thing that makes editing much easier. And now we can just fix this clone to go to the other side. And also another important thing is that I can edit the way that this linkage is done, because all these names actually mean they mean something, but it's hard to know what the parameters of this link are. So now I can edit the parameters and get feedback, and so this is very important. But I think I only get feedback if there is some issue, not when everything is fine. Then the error is not activated. So I should make a incorrect linkage, but I can't seem to do that. Why? It's funny. I always have problems with I guess this diagonal doesn't really want to play nice with me. Let me just use one of these little stupid boxes. So let me just add it now. Add to the first, and kind of front, but let's edit and editing. So a linkage is practically how we align the edges of the rectangles. So there are many different ways to align two segments. They can meet at the common center, or one can be before one or after, and in different dimensions. That means that it will look differently. Okay, so now that I have this nice little rule of blah, I can, for example, I made already in a previous version of this video cross out of these rules, and it's just using the rules 4 times and linking it to the middle. And so this is my quality of life improvements. There are some other things too, but maybe one day I will make a big video about how my system works, and then I will talk about that. Okay, the other thing was that I realized that my variables need backtracking, because sometimes even if a variable succeeds, maybe later it will cause the other things after it to fail, and then I should backtrack to that variable and retry it. And so this is basically the 8 queens problem. Can also be taught like this. So for that, I will tell you how I modeled the 8 queens. So I have these little 8 unit high rectangles that are the queens, and they have some rays that are coming out of them, but they are of course just normal voxels, but they have the special property that I call them ghost voxels, and I can just remove them at the end of the run. So they will occupy space, but they are not visible at the end. So I can just this is a simple test example of showing you how I can maybe model that I have two queens who have actually 8 different offsets, and I can put them into a variable and make that variable to backtrack, and then I will have the solution to the 8 queens problem, of course, with the ghosts visible. One thing that I needed to do also was that on every line the ghosts should be start from a higher altitude so that they never cross each other. The ghost collision should not be happening, only ghost with queen collision, because the ghosts, where they are really dense in this little search space, so we shouldn't collide between them, because of course then there will be no solutions. But the height of these ghosts can be controlled by me switching out one primitive that sets where the height starts with another. I have all these switch rules that I can switch between primitive rules, variables, linkages, and primitive values, whatever. I can even make comments because they are needed in a complicated rule. And so finally, let me show you how this looks. So there are the queens, there are the ghosts, and there is a chessboard underneath them, and they are placed well, correctly, I hope. Maybe if we don't see the ghosts, it's more visible. And yeah, so this is how it looks. I looked at Wikipedia. This solution is correct, and also if you look at it more thoroughly, then you can see it yourself. So this backtracking, I hope it will be useful. I think it will be useful, but because it allows me to make a little less constrained rules, but we'll see when I really start to use it. So, like, this is the rule that calculates that puts all the queens. The other rule just puts a chessboard underneath this rule, and so it's basically just some. These are the variables that I need to. I had to add 8 times this row variable and align them to some empty primitives. Again, this is not so interesting now. Maybe I will talk about it. How I realized the empty empty blocks are the most useful blocks, even if I want to place mostly non-empty blocks. So that's it for now, and I hope I will see you in the next video, and thanks for watching if you somehow resisted.